Hello and welcome to the Horror of It All movie podcast. I'm Eric. I'm solo still. This is going to be part two of Video Nasties. The first episode that I did, you can go back and listen to that, was my 10 favorite movies of the initial 39 prosecuted movies. Still so silly to say prosecuted movies. Give me a break. From the UK. And to recap from the last one, really all they did for like movie fans and horror fans and exploitation fans is give you a list of movies to check out. Were they all great? No, but there are a lot of fucking great gems in there, man. So, on this episode, I'm going to be talking about the section 2 of the movies that were not prosecuted. These titles have now been removed from the quote-unquote list. So these movies were banned initially, but they weren't initially prosecuted. I can't remember exact details. All I know is, again, there's a great documentary on it. You can get them both from Severin in America. I got the first one that talks about these titles in the UK before Severin did it, but it's pretty great. They even have a t-shirt of the amazing art for it. Excuse me. But yeah, check out that one. Check out this one first. It doesn't really matter. But as I said, these titles were in the full 72 list. But 39 were actually prosecuted that I talked about on the last one. So these are going to be my 10 favorites of the dropped 33, so to speak, as they call it in some places. Right off the bat, I'm going to go with a classic, The Beyond. The Beyond is, in some people's opinion, Lucio Fulci's greatest movie. And for me, that's really hard to say. Lucio Fulci is one of my favorite directors, not just Italian, but he's my favorite Italian director, but he's one of my favorite directors of all time. And The Beyond is great. It is. It just is. What can be said about it? I mean, it's basically about. It's hard to say what it's about. I mean, here, I'm going to do this. I'm going to read what it says on the Grindhouse releasing. Check this one out. This is probably the best version as of now for that. But, man, there's some weird shit in it. There's like one girl that's blind and has white eyes, and there's a weird spider scene where like spider goes in his mouth and shit, and but basically it's about this motel that they're trying to fix up in New Orleans, I believe, and it happens to be one of the gates of hell, because this is quote unquote the Gates of Hell trilogy. I don't know if that was intended, or maybe it was. I don't know. What I mean by that is it consists of City of the Living Dead, House by the Cemetery, and The Beyond, which is some people's favorite of his. It's in my top 5, but it's not my favorite. I'll get into that later when I go into more Lucio Fulci. I ended the other one with Lucio Fulci, and I'll get this here. But man, like this scene when she goes into one of the rooms where she keeps getting a call, I think, and it's like a decaying body, but I think that's what opened the gate to hell, because the guy was crucified. But yeah, I'm gonna read what it says on the Grindhouse releasing. There's also this great scene with this girl in like a morgue, and this acid goes on this woman's face, and it starts to melt her face. The girl. Oh man. And then zombies start to come up and stuff, and the girl goes to open like the meat locker, so to speak, or the fridge, I guess. And there's like a really good scene with that girl with like her head, part of her head gets blown off. It's like an infamous scene. Anyway, and the end is just haunting. Just haunting. The seven dreaded gateways to hell are concealed in seven cursed places, and on the day the gates of hell are open, the dead will walk the earth. From legendary Italian horror master Lucio Fulci comes the ultimate classic of supernatural terror. A cursed hotel built over one of the seven gateways to hell becomes a malevolent, it's always a hard word for me to say, abyss that begins devouring both the bodies and the souls of all who enter in a graphic frenzy of gory crucifixions, brutal chain whippings, eyeball implements, cephalic acid meltdowns, flesh-eating tarantulas, throat-shredding demon dogs, and ravenous, bloodthirsty zombies. The Beyond is a towering achievement in hair-raising, mind-bending cinematic terror. Whew, that's a mouthful, but this is fucking great, man. It even comes with the score, and I highly recommend it if you can still get it. It came out like 6 years ago, but it's fucking great. It really is. Now, my next choice, again, these are not top 10, but they're my 10 favorites. This next one, I absolutely love this movie. I would say these are a little bit more obscure than, say, the other ones, other than maybe The Beyond, for instance. But I did want to mention The Beyond had 2 minutes cut out of it. Insane. But my next choice would have to be probably fucking Contamination. Also known as Alien Contamination, Astron, Brute des Secrecans, Toxic Spawn, directed by Luigi Cozzi, who also in a lot of them will say it's directed by Lewis Coates. Again, they're trying to sound American, but I fucking love Contamination. I was so excited when Joe Bob Briggs did it on his show. I just love Contamination. I might love it too much, but because to some it's just an Alien ripoff, blah blah blah. But man, I fucking love it. It has Ian McAuliffe in it. He was in Zombie and Zombie Holocaust. Both ironically, all three on this list. There's a cool story that I heard about him where a relative of his was like, "Oh my God, did you hear about these terrible movies and blah blah blah," referring to the video Nasties. And Ian listened and begrudgingly basically said, "I'm in 3 of those," and he's like, "Oh, that's terrible, Ian. How could you?" But anyway. Basically what Contamination is, some people call it an Alien ripoff. I think it's so much more than that. So much more than that. The fucking brutality of this movie is so cool. Some people might find it annoying, like the sound. Whatever. I don't even know if I'm doing it justice, but there's like these fucking pods that end up bursting. But they also burst from people's like chests. And yeah, that's kind of Alien-esque, like the Alien movies, yes, but as I've said on other episodes of my podcast, it's not just black and white, it's not just one-dimensional. I don't think, even though some directors say, we're just ripping it off, you're not giving yourself enough credit, man, because the initial idea may have been, hey, that made money here, let's try it here, but it still made it their own. It still made it their own. Being Contamination. I just I can't say enough good things other than I love Contamination. There's a great Arrow version. You probably can't get the one with the slipcase anymore. Unfortunately, it has a cool slipcase. Maybe you can find it. But the description on the synopsis, one time I said synapse on my podcast when I meant synopsis, and I was like, shit, that's not what I meant. Anyway, I don't really edit that much, but I try. Anyway, starring Italian horror veteran Ian McCullough, like I said, was also in Lucio Fulci's Zombie. Contamination from director Luigi Cozzi is one of the brightest stars in the ferment of early 80s Italian splatter. Abso-fucking-lutely. Some people might not get this movie, or not even just not get it. Maybe it's just not for them, or they just... Some people can't wrap their head and step outside of the fucking box where they just automatically like, oh, somebody said it's a ripoff, so it's a ripoff. My brain doesn't do that. Oh, man. I'm watching the trailer right now as I do this, but I was doing it with a lot of them. The score is by Goblin, and the chest burst, the effects in this movie are fucking great. But this is, as I said, the synopsis. A cargo ship drifts into New York Harbor. Its crew, all dead, their bodies horribly mutilated, turned inside out by an unknown force. Its freight? Boxes upon boxes of glowing, pulsating green eggs. It soon becomes clear these eggs are not from this planet, and someone intends to cultivate them here on Earth. But who? And to what end? Contamination takes the premise of Ridley Scott's classic Alien and peppers it with exploding guts galore and dangerously infectious soundtrack from celebrated Italian prog rockers Goblin. Highly recommended. There's some great fucking special features. I love Luigi Cozzi. He didn't do a lot, but he did enough. Like, I would have taken more, of course, but right now he pretty much is, because he's really good friends with Dario Argento. As far as I know, he runs his what is it called? I know it's Deep Red in Italian, but Profondo Rosso, his shop, Dario Argento's shop, and, well, their shop, I guess. I guess it's theirs. Anyway, but that's what he's doing now. He definitely had some good stuff. I really think so. I mean, on here they only mentioned Star Crash and Hercules, but yeah, this is definitely his best movie. Abso-fucking-lutely. Contamination, I couldn't find how much was cut out of this one, so unfortunately. But yes, I can't say enough of good things about Contamination. It's a fun fucking movie. If you like Italian movies, if you like gore, if you like alien pods, if you like Luigi Cozzi, if you like Ian McCullough, check it out. Now, from here, my next choice is kind of a really underrated movie, man. It was American. It's called Dead and Buried. Every time I watch this, I almost forget how good it is. Ironically, it was from writers of Alien, which, because I mentioned the whole Alien connection with Contamination. But, oh man, I'm just gonna read it the synopsis on here, man, because I can't do it justice. I just can't, because it's just so good. Something very strange is happening in a quiet coastal village in Potter's Bluff, where tourists and transients are warmly welcomed, then brutally murdered. But even more shocking is when these slain strangers suddenly reappear as normal. Friendly citizens around town, now the local sheriff, and the eccentric mortician, who was played by Jack Albertson. This was his final film appearance. Must uncover the horrific secret of the community where no one is really ever is ever really dead and buried. Boy, I'd fucking fuck that up. Effects are great. The story's great. It's a good like mystery story. It's almost got like an Invasion of the Body Snatchers to it, but much more graphic and almost claustrophobic. Like you feel trapped. Like if this happened to you, fuck, what would you do? Yeah. I don't think this has really been re-released. I'm not 100% sure. This Blu-ray that I have is older. It's a great Blu-ray from Blue Underground, but it's 2009. But check it out. Dead and Buried. Highly recommend it. So good. Now, Dead and Buried didn't have too terribly much cut from it, but I'm all about uncut, man. If I see something remotely cut, I'm like, nope, not for me. It was released with 30 seconds cut, with a screenplay written by Dan O'Banion, who, again, that's the Alien connection, and he also did Return of the Living Dead, and Ronald Shusett. The movie, just, man, it's great. I definitely recommend it. Now, my next choice would be, as they call it, because some of these titles are like, what? No? Would be, let's see, Death Trap. In America, we know it as Eaten Alive, and ironically, there's an Italian movie that's called, not ironically, but there's also an Italian movie called Eaten Alive, so you could maybe get them confused, but if you don't know Italian and you know American movies, Eaten Alive is a like sleazy, grungy, like, I don't know about sleazy, but I don't know, it makes you feel dirty, but Tobe Hooper movies do that, don't they? But yeah, Tobe Hooper did Death Trap, or Eaten Alive. I think Eaten Alive is a better title. It's basically this about this guy with like this dirty motel that back then you just sign in, and the Eaten Alive part is the he has a crocodile, or is it an alligator? I always get that confused depending on the country. It's America, it's Florida, I believe. So anyway, I don't have this release in front of me. I don't have it on Blu-ray, unfortunately, but I'm gonna do my best. I gotta get it. I gotta get the Arrow. I really do. I have it on DVD, but I do not have it on Blu-ray. Anyway, I'm kind of trailing off here. Sorry. Deep in the swamps of Louisiana. Louisiana. There you go. The disfigured, psychotic Judd, played by Neville Brand, manages a sleazy, okay, I said sleazy, so okay, a sleazy, decaying motel. Upon learning one of his guests is a prostitute, he promptly impales her with a pitchfork and tosses her into the to the crocodile that stalks nearby waters. Crocodile, there we go. This is just the first in a series of slayings, and as the crocodile's belly begins to bulge with victims, people grow suspicious. Outsiders begin to poke around the motel, but Judd simply sees them as more treats for his pet. That's pretty good. That was off Google, but that's a good description for sure. I definitely recommend it. It's Tobe Hooper did it after Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I don't know if he did anything in between because that was like 77. But yeah, I definitely recommend it. If you like Tobe Hooper and you haven't seen it, check it out. Now, my I would say I don't think much was cut out of this, but again, anything that was cut. Let's see. What do I got? um, where is it? I'm not 100% sure what was cut for that one, but 25 seconds. But still, I know to some that doesn't sound a lot, and to some you're like, oh, well, that doesn't bother me. It fucking bothers me. I want it completely uncut. I want the full movie. Um, all right, so my next pick is another multiple title movie that is not an Italian movie, which I found interesting. is geez, what title could I give you? I guess the most commonly known one is The Dorm That Dripped Blood. Great, great title. My favorite title is definitely Death Dorm. I don't know why I like that the most, but it's kind of a typical 80s slasher. But it's one that some people might not realize, but it's kind of a Christmas slasher. Um, the Synapse release from 2011 is very, very good. As far as I know, there hasn't been any um, other releases that I know of. But sometimes when I say that, I'm like, well, I don't really know, because once I have it, I don't look for it unless it's something that's released often. Um, but yeah, uh, I'm trying to find it on here. I thought it was. Oh, okay. I had it. I had this mixed in. Um, yeah, I had this. I can't really find it on the DVD, but I know it's in there. But yeah, it's Death Dorm, the dorm that dripped blood, and the synopsis for that is: on the eve of Christmas vacation, a college dormitory stands condemned. The dark halls now vacant and unsafe. Student Joanne Murray and her close friends volunteer to help close down the building, unaware a psychopath lunatic is hiding in the shadows. As the students disappear, one by one, Joanne discovers the horrifying reality that if she is to survive, she alone will have to find a way to slay the brutal murderer. Very, very good description in the movie, I think. Absolutely. Um, I might even like this more than I should. I don't know, but um, I don't know again why I can't find it on this list here. Maybe it wasn't. It wasn't a prosecuted one, so maybe it's under a title that I can't find on the DVD. Anyway, um, highly recommend it if you like slashers. Daphne Zuniga, I think that's how she says her name. Again, I'm terrible with names. Is one of the main stars in this. Very good. I know it is. I know it is Dorm That Drip Blood and Death Nerve. Death Nerve. Yeah, Death Norm. But I really like it. But yeah, if you can still find the Synapse one, check that out. I'm not good with telling people. I will say that as deep into this podcast, I'm not good to tell you where streaming is. I'm not a big streamer. I do occasionally, but I prefer to. I'm a physical guy, so yeah. Anyway, my next choice in my 10 favorites is The Living Dead at Manchester Morgue. There's so many fucking titles to this movie. Uh, it has some Italian roots to it, but basically it's Spain, Italy. Um, but it's a very unique zombie movie. It was in 1974. Um, Basically, it's if I don't have this is one of the few I don't have right in front of me. I do own it, but I don't have a Blu-ray, unfortunately. Um, I still have it on DVD, but I didn't grab it. But it's these different kind of zombies, but it's all because of the sound. I wish I could do it more justice. But man, it's interesting. It's a unique one for sure. I mean, it's also known as "Let Sleeping Corpses Lie." Don't open the window. I don't understand that title. um, but yeah, I definitely recommend it. It's been a while since I've seen it, so I'm trying to think of anything. But yeah. Oh, I guess I noticed that I said I didn't know about streaming, but it is on some streaming. But yeah, I did find this. Hold on. A cop chases two hippies suspected of a series of Manson family-like murders. Unbeknownst to him, the real culprits are the living dead, brought to life with a thirst for human flesh by a chemical pesticides being used by area farmers. The pesticides. Okay, I don't know why I remembered a sound. Anyway, so it has been that long, but I definitely recommend it. It's a good one. Um, but yeah, that one had. Let's see. That one had. I'm not sure how much that one had, but I don't think it was too much. Um, it initially passed with 2 minutes cut. 2 minutes. Okay, so way more than I thought. um, my next pick is I'm kind of out of order here. I just noticed. Pranks. That's why I couldn't find the. That was another title for the dorm that drip blood. Pranks. In the video Nasties, it's under Pranks. Never. I guess I get that title, but yeah, it's not my favorite. Death Dorm is my favorite. But anyway, my next pick is Possession. Now, there's a lot of movies known as Possession. The particular one I'm talking about is with Sam Neill from the early '80s, from '81. Wow, I honestly thought that was earlier. This one's a hard one to describe. So again, I think I might have to just read the synopsis because I highly recommend it. It's definitely a mind fuck of a movie. It's kind of hard to get too, but because the one I have, I believe, I'm not sure where it's from, but it's B. Might be German. But yeah, the the description for it is a film like no other. See, that's why I'm like, how do I describe this fucking thing? A film like no other. Possession is an intense, shocking experience that was banned in the UK as a video nasty. At the Cannes Film Festival, however, the film was nominated for a Palme d'Or. I don't know how to say that. Isabella Adjani. I'm going to stop reading names because I butcher them and I admit it. Won Best Actress for her mesmerizing performance. With their marriage in pieces, Anna and Mark's tense relationship has become psychotic descent into screaming matches, violence, and self-mutilation. Believing his wife's only lover is the sinister Henrich, Mark is unaware of the demonic, tentillating, tentacled. Sorry, I read for shit. I admit it. A tentacled creature that Anna has hidden away for lesions in the deserted apartment, and will stop at nothing to protect. Description isn't the greatest on the back, but like word wise, I was reading it as it said, but maybe I was missing something. Yeah, it's sort of Second Sight, so they're going to be releasing a great Dawn of the Dead and Martin box set, so that'll be fun. But yeah, it's definitely one of those descent into madness things, and then you're like, what the fuck is going on? Possession. Highly recommend. Kind of hard to find. Maybe you get a little more lucky today. But to make sure you have the right movie, like I said, Sam Neill is in it, and it's from 1981. So that's the best way I can say to find it, really. My next pick is Unhinged. Now, Unhinged is very, very obscure. Some people may have heard of it. I actually heard of it before the Video Nasties, but not quite as far back as VHS. I did not hear about it then. I have this weird, like, it's not weird, but indie DVD company release. It's all region, so if you can find it, from 2002. I think this one needs a fucking release. It really does. It's a slow burn, but it's so creepy and just so like the atmosphere in this movie to me is just so fucking great. The best way to say, I mean, it even, like, initially I bought it because it said it was banned, so I still, even as a younger guy, had that in me of, oh, it was banned, let's check it out, before I even knew really about the Video Nasties. I mean, I probably had an idea, but yeah, some people might find the movie boring. I will say that, because it takes a little bit for a lot of stuff to happen. But it has this fucking, like I said, claustrophobicness to it that I just, man. Yeah, I just, I'm rambling now, but I'll read the synopsis here. When three beautiful young women crash their car in a blustery rainstorm, that is blustery, that's what it says, rainstorm, and wake up in a mysterious old mansion, they don't realize that the magnitude of terror in store for them. Taken in by a spinster and her demented mother, violence unfolds in an unrelenting tale of sexual repression, turning again and again to savage brutality as it hurls toward its paralyzing climax. Even here it says graphic violence and full nudity caused English Parliament to ban Unhinged in 1985. Fans were grieved as virtually every copy was pulled from the shelves worldwide. Now, for the first time ever, Unhinged is available. But oh man, I love this movie. I fucking love this movie. It's so creepy. It's so engaging. It's so atmospheric. It's so violent. Unhinged. Fucking find it. If you like slasher movies, if you like really good atmosphere, I just Unhinged. Highly, highly recommend it. If I did make an order, like a top whatever, on this list, this might top three maybe. Yeah. My next choice is another movie with multiple titles, and Probably another one that would be in the top three for sure. I don't know if I said that about another one other than Unhinged. So if I had too many top threes, I apologize. Sometimes it's hard when I make a list to really narrow it down. That's why I did like my favorite 10 or whatever. But I just discovered so many fucking great movies on because of the video nasties, and movies that are just some of my absolute favorites. But this next one is definitely a contender. I'm gonna go to the one I was just talking about for the top three last, because it deserves to be like save the best for last kind of thing. The next one I'm going to talk about is Don't Go in the House. I have the best one to get for this is probably a Scorpion release, but I know there's other ones. There's an Arrow DVD, if I remember right. But Don't Go in the House is definitely a very, very just creepy, uncomfortable, like some people compare it to Psycho, kind of, which I get to a degree, but not 100%. Like, yes, I know what you're saying, but if anybody hasn't seen Don't Go in the House, I highly recommend it. Even the tagline is simply "You've been warned." So, this is the synopsis on the back of the Scorpion releasing Blu-ray. As a child, Donald grew up under the sadistic rule of an overbearing mother. Her method of punishment? A severe burning. Through the years, Donald finds no comfort, no sympathy, nor home in the real world. When he discovers his mother has died in her sleep, he thinks he may be free. But with nightmarish visions and voices in his head, the damage has been done. Now he hopes to incinerate his repressive past by seeking out young women, taking them to his home, and burning them alive. The film that was once banned in the UK, or here, now sees its cult classic from a brand new HD, and now 9 minutes longer than all previous editions. So that's another good reason. There is some fucking cut versions of this. I know I actually skipped a couple. I want to make sure, now that I think about it, for those. But yeah, Don't Go in the House, I remember being severely like cut, especially well, it's still quite a bit. 3 minutes and 7 seconds. I'm gonna I want to read this. Despite some respectable, crucial let's see, Don't Go in the House's attracted controversy almost immediately because of its graphic depiction of the death of Keller's first victim, the touchy central theme of a child abuse. Yeah, the film was cut by 3 minutes, but I believe what they're referring to is the burning in the steel. He made a steel room, and he hung these women by their hands and literally set them on fucking fire. And it's all done in camera. So I believe even the people that were making it, I believe I heard this, it was so real that either some people, I don't know if they got sick or whatever, but it was intense even for them. Obviously it wasn't real, but it looked that real that that unfortunately happened. But yeah, Don't Go in the House. Like I said, I recommend what I think is the best Blu-ray, but yeah, that one is definitely in my 10 favorites. for the unprosecuted ones. My last one, the one I saved for the best for last, and even some people are going to be like, the best for last? That movie sucks, blah, blah, blah. Okay, I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt, because when I first saw this movie, I didn't like it either. But something happened as I got older and I saw it on Blu-ray. There's just so much brilliance to the weirdness and the fucking effects and the fucking amazing Italianness to this movie, and where Bruno Mattei basically jacks his soundtrack from other movies. It's all Goblin, I think, pretty much. But as far as I know, I have heard him say that he did ask permission for some of it. I could be 100% wrong here, but I believe he asked permission for some of it because he liked it or he wanted something similar. So he did talk to Goblin about it. Anyway, I didn't even say the title, I don't believe. It depends on the title you want. In the UK, it was Zombie Creeping Flesh. I originally saw it as Night of the Zombies. And then I saw it again as Hell Living Dead. And then I saw it again as Virus. Lots of fucking titles, man. But I love this movie so much. There's just something so... I couldn't find how much was cut initially. But I love this fucking movie. I really, really do. It's not going to be for everybody. If you can't handle quote-unquote bad dubbing... And I know I get into shit with some people about this when they're like, yeah, it's bad dubbing. Nobody is speaking, not nobody, but a lot of the people are not speaking the same language that is being dubbed. All these Italian movies were fucking dubbed. Their voices are not going to match. Now, if you're saying bad dubbing because it doesn't fit the person, fine, but that still doesn't merit bad to me. If some people can't handle dubbing because the voices don't match, I get it to a degree, I guess. But anyway, I absolutely love this movie. I have the, I would say between the Blue Underground double feature with Bruno Mattei's another infamous movie he had, Rats, A Night of Terror, and Hell the Living Dead. That's the best one, I'd say, probably in America. I hope it gets even a better release. It's from Blue Underground. They might do it. But I really love the 88 Films release. It has a cool, like, one of their soft slip cases. It says Virus on the spine. And on the other side, there's, like, two different covers as Zombie Creeping Flesh, which is known in the UK. Yeah, I love it. I highly recommend it. If you like Italian movies and you can handle to some that aren't the greatest this, the greatest that, you might have fun with it. I think so. I think some of the characters, yes, were slightly Dawn of the Dead-ish, but you'll have that. Banned by British authorities back in the early days of VHS, thanks to its scenes of innards chewing, eye-popping, and throat-ripping excess, Zombie Creeping Flesh is strangely morale eco-horror film that warns against the very real terrors of nuclear pollution, chemical fallout as residents as Papua New Guinea are turned into flesh-hungry, undead, directed with the splatter enthusiastic aplomb that one would expect from Mattei, one of the underrated amateurs of Golden Age Italian gore. And penned by one of my favorite Italian writers, directors, all of that. Claudio Fragasso, which is so cool. I was able to get one of those signed copies of Zombie 3 when Severin did it. But I think the effects are pretty good in this movie. Are they Lucio Fulci great, like to that level? No, but they're good. It does have like the cannibal vibe to it. It also has like the zombie vibe. It obviously has the zombies. But yeah, Claudio Fragasso wrote it with others, of course. But Zombie Creeping Flesh is every bit as eerily entertaining as it was almost 40 years ago. I would say that is a great like synopsis. If you love this movie, if you want to find a really cool addition, it probably is hard at this point, but yeah, definitely check out the 88 Films one, because if you can get it with the book and the cool slipcase, definitely. And again, these are all opinions. I fucking love the movie. I just do. As I said when I first saw it, I didn't like it either. I get it. But something just clicked with it, man. I just think it's really, really, really good. So there it is. Those are my 10 favorites of the 33 that were unprosecuted of the 72 video nasties. I'll do a little brief thing because I have a few honorable mentions for that. My honorable mentions are, well, the first one is very well known. I don't really think I have to talk about it. This is a horror podcast, but come on, it's amazing. Is Evil Dead. Evil Dead was one of those 72, if people didn't know that. I don't like this title, but there is a movie called Late Night Trains. I don't know it by that. I know it is Night Train Murders. I believe Blue Underground, I think they're the ones who put it out. Yeah. I have it on like a triple feature. So that's probably the best way to get it if you want it on Blu-ray, but you can get it on DVD as well. It's basically like, it's been described as Last House on the Left on a Train, but there's some, I mean, Last House on the Left is brutal, let's be honest, obviously, but there's some really brutal scenes in this movie. It's also Italian, I believe, but yeah, that's definitely an honorable mention. The Slayer. Some people aren't too keen on this movie. I think it's pretty good. It's basically about this woman, I think, that's having like nightmares about this place, and then they go there, and then that's the place that she's having the nightmare about, and stuff. One of those type of things. And then there's like this really weird, cool looking monster with all these weird shaped, sharp teeth and stuff. The Slayer. You can get it from Arrow. It's really good. Don't Go Near the Park. I can't recommend a good like Blu-ray because I don't even know if there is one. It needs to have a good one. It's a weird one for sure. This isn't even a description of it because I don't really know if I can give one, but Don't Go Near the Park, there's a line in it that I think it's like a kid, and there's this girl that she ran away, I believe. It's been a long time. I think I saw it on YouTube, actually. But anyway, he finds her in this like abandoned place, and he starts like feeling her up and stuff while she's sleeping, and she wakes up. Well, maybe it's not a kid, but he's, yeah, preteen. So getting interested. His line that always stuck with me because of this movie was, she woke up and he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were dead." So fucked up. That line will never get, like, it's always with me. It's so fucked up. And then my last honorable mention for the 33 unprosecuted in the video nasties, but come on, it's 72 list. I'm gonna watch all of them. I think I've seen just about everything. I may be missing a couple, but yeah. I think I have seen pretty much everything. Is Toolbox Murders. Toolbox Murders was definitely a sleazy slasher about this guy in an apartment building who basically just kidnaps women and kills them, tortures them, all those things. There's been a remake of that. I like the remake. There was a sequel to the remake kind of thing. But yeah, definitely was a good one. But yeah, so now I'm going to go on to this one. I don't think will be as long. I'm not going to be as long-winded with it. But there was a section 3 of these video nasties. A supplement list was issued along with the official list, which featured a list of so-called Section 3 video nasties. Titles on the Section 3 list could not be prosecuted for obscenity, but were liable to seizure and basically under less obscure they could still be prosecuted for having these, but it would be a less offense. So fucking crazy. Tape seized under the Section 3 could be destroyed after distributors or merchants forfeited them. There were some well-known titles in this list, such as Friday the 13th Part 1 and 2, Phantasm, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Night of the Living Dead, Dawn of the Dead, and so on. But I wanted to list my favorite lesser well-known titles. Some more known than others, but I figured I'd give it a shot. I'm going to kind of go in alphabetical order with these and kind of get through them. The first one is one of my favorite Christmas horror movies. It's a slasher, but there's so much more to it than that. There's so much more psychological shit going on in this movie. But Christmas Evil. You can get Christmas Evil still on Blu-ray, the best one that I've found from Vinegar Syndrome. One of my favorite labels in the fucking world. I'm going to be doing a top. I haven't figured out the number yet, but for Vinegar Syndrome movies, this is definitely one of them that's in it. Recently, when they did one of their sales, they've been doing slipcases for older titles. I know some people are ridiculous with slipcases that are like, oh, it's just a piece of cardboard, blah, blah, blah. But I'm such a collector that this is part of it. No, the movie doesn't look better because of, like, on the TV screen or whatever. Fine. But I love it. I thought the slipcase was cool. I heard some people didn't like the slipcase, but it was cool to add to it. But yeah, I'll read the synopsis real quick on Christmas Evil. When he was a boy, Harry idolized Santa Claus, but one Christmas Eve, he witnessed something horrifying that forever shattered his innocent understanding of Santa. Now as an adult, Harry wants to embody the pure Santa Claus he grew up loving. He works at a toy factory and keeps records of who's been naughty and who's been nice, but the spirit of Christmas isn't what it used to be, and he can't take it. So, garbed in the red suit, Harry decides that the only thing that he can do is become Santa himself. Make all the naughty townspeople pay in blood. But yeah, there's some great features on this, and I highly recommend this. I would love to do around Christmas time an episode on Christmas Evil. Highly recommend it. My next one, I do not have a release for this. It's only on VHS. It needs a fucking release. Vinegar Syndrome would be a good one for it. It's Death Weekend. Who knows? Maybe it's coming up in the Black Friday sale. Fingers crossed, but I'm not going to hold my breath. I'm not saying they wouldn't. I'm just saying I've waited so long for this fucking thing. It's also known as House by the Lake. It's pretty much about this woman who meets this man, and they end up going to a cabin together. I think it's a cabin or like a lake house. A lake house, yeah. And he's continuously trying to get to her, get in her pants, basically. But they did just meet, kind of thing. But from there's this group of people that end up coming in the house and terrorizing them. And it's almost like a House on the Edge of the Park type scenario, almost. But this is what I found a kind of a good way to um, go at it, like explain the movie. A rich playboy has a large house in Ontario, on the Ontario countryside. One weekend, he invites his girlfriend, a fashion model, but on his way to the house, he drives past the gate. Okay. For some reason, I thought that he just met her. I don't know why. Okay, I watched so many movies. Something else made a jump in there. Anyway, it's been a little bit. Like I said, it needs a release. I've only seen it on YouTube. Uh, One weekend, he invites his girlfriend, a fashion model, but on his way to the house, he drives past a gang of crazed young men. The men find out where the house is and terrorize the couple. That's a very good way to describe it. Also known as the House by the Lake, at a remote hideaway in Ontario, a playboy dentist and his fashion model. Oh, that's a little bit more. Gang of punks. Um, but I won't go into too much more. But very, very good movie. They like destroy the house, and it's a very intense, like nervous, edge of your seat kind of feeling through the movie, man. Um, but yeah, definitely recommend it. Fingers crossed for Vinegar Syndrome for a Blu-ray, but maybe it won't be that. Maybe it'll be somebody else. My next pick from the Section 3 list is a more well-known for Italian fans, and I mentioned it earlier, is Deep Red. Dario Argento's Deep Red. The best one to get is probably the Arrow one. That you can still get the disc. It's still great. I got the initial box. It's not even really a box. It's before they kind of got the harder thing with the multiple discs and stuff. Comes with like the score but man, Deep Red is fucking great. The synopsis on the Arrow is: one night, musician Marcus Daly, played by David Hemmings, who also was in Blow Up, looking up from the street below, witnesses a brutal axe murder of a woman in her apartment. Racing to the scene, Marcus just manages to miss the perpetrator. Or does he? As he takes on the role of amateur sleuth, Marcus finds himself ensnared. Yeah, I know, I'm terrible. In a bizarre web of murder and mystery where nothing is what it seems. Aimed by a throbbing score by regular Dario Argento collaborators Goblin, Deep Red, also known as Profondo Rosso, and also known as the Hatchet Murders. It's a fever dream of a giallo type of thing. This is definitely in my top 5 for Dario Argento. Again, before Suspiria, I like Suspiria. I do. But there's just movies that I like better. Everybody goes for Suspiria, but this is it for me. Deep Red, man. Absolutely. So my next pick would be Inseminoid. Finally released. There's so much fucking shit on this disc that Scream Factory just put out that I don't understand why it wasn't collector's edition, like with a slipcase and stuff. I don't understand. Maybe they didn't think it was a big enough release. I don't know. It was pretty much the last of Norman J. Warren that I was really trying to get, and I was hoping Vinegar Syndrome released it because they released so many of his other titles. But alas, they didn't. Scream Factory did, and it's fine. I just think Vinegar Syndrome's packaging would have been better. It would have been better. I know it would have been. But yeah, I love Inseminoid so much. I've had it on DVD for a long fucking time. But yeah. And here's anyway. Sorry, I drifted off there. there's some really great stuff on here too. If you're a fan of Norman J. Warren, check this out. It has a 90-minute documentary about him. It's so cool. But yeah, the synopsis is: an alien creature has been waiting millions of years for a chance to breed, and its time has finally come when a group of space explorers unwittingly lands on its home planet. The 12-member crew is investigating for possible origins of the planet's vanished civilization. Instead, they awake the planet's creature and discover the horror to come is more terrifying than any nightmare they could ever imagine. This would definitely be a cool double feature if you want similar movies in the double feature. Inseminoid and Contamination for sure. Inseminoid is not Italian, but I'm just so glad to finally get it. I just got it super recently, but I'm so glad to finally get it on Blu-ray. It deserved the Blu-ray so much. I just, like I said, I just was hoping for, I would get it from Vinegar Syndrome, but hey, I got the movie, you know. I highly recommend it. This is my favorite of his movies too. He did some really good movies, but definitely this. My next pick, which again I don't have one in front of me. I'm waiting for Second Sight's Blu-ray, which would be awesome because I don't own it on Blu-ray. Is George A. Romero's Martin. I was so hoping that Martin would have been part of that box set from Arrow that they did, but it had The Crazies, Season of the Witch, There's Always Vanilla. No Martin! I was so disappointed, as a lot of people, but if anybody doesn't know about Martin, Martin was I'm not even big on vampire movies, but this is unique. He was like a human living vampire, I think they call it. Or I don't even know if it's that he thought he was a vampire, but yeah, he basically goes around and killing these women and like slitting their wrists a long way and drinking their blood. And there's some really good, definitely some really good on this list too. I think definitely people should check out the Section 3 list because, I mean, other than the ones that I mentioned, I wasn't going to go into too many, but like Don't Answer the Phone and Eaten Alive, the cannibal one, Dead Kids, Communion, which is Alice, Sweet Alice. But yeah, anyway, back to Martin. But Martin is a very interesting movie. As I said, I'm not big into vampire movies, but it's not your cliche vampire movie. It feels 70s because it is, but it's great. If you haven't seen it, like, and you like George Romero, definitely check it out. It's not a zombie movie. It's, as I said, obviously it's not a zombie movie. It's just something you say because when people think George Romero, you think, oh, it's a zombie movie. No, but yeah, I highly recommend Martin. If you haven't seen it, I'd be very surprised if you're a George Romero fan and have not seen it. But anyway, my next pick on the Section 3 list would definitely be Mausoleum. Mausoleum, speaking of Vinegar Syndrome, as I said, will be on my Vinegar Syndrome list as well. But Mausoleum, I honestly had actually never seen. It was a blind buy from Vinegar Syndrome, which a lot of theirs are. I admit that. That's what I like about them, is it reminds me of being a kid and going to a video store and finding a movie and finding movies that you didn't know about or whatever. They're just they're just great with that. I just love it. Um, but yeah, I Mausoleum is it's a weird one. It's not great to certain standards, but yeah, it's definitely good. I would check it out, and obviously check out Vinegar Syndrome's Mausoleum. Um, but yeah, I would say the description here from Vinegar Syndrome, they're great with descriptions. Or just ask somebody at Vinegar Syndrome at a convention to describe a movie to you, and they're so awesome at it. Um, uh, the Nomad family has been the victim of an ancient curse in which the firstborn daughter of each generation has been violently mad and then suspiciously dies, or has gone violently mad, sorry. No one can explain the Nomad madness. I'm probably saying their name wrong. It's been a bit since I watched it. But some say it's because of the possession of a terrible demonic force by way of unnatural urge during her mother's funeral. Susan entered her family's mausoleum, and ever since an evil presence has been lurking inside of her, waiting for a chance to come out. Now an adult, something is hiding in Susan's body, coming out to grotesquely murder everyone who comes too close to uncovering her terrifying secret. And I'll read this too. This isn't the synopsis, but they're great at this too. Sometimes I'll read this part before I'll read the synopsis of the movie, because they're just so good at it. A consummate blending of early 80s supernatural horror and slasher film tropes. Mausoleum is a stylish, sleazy, and outrageously gory production, featuring a series of imaginative death scenes orchestrated by effects wizard John Carl Buechler. But yeah, Mausoleum. I highly fucking recommend this movie. I just I think it's really great. I mean, not everybody likes a lot all the Vinegar Syndrome movies. Vinegar Syndrome movies are out there. Some are trash, some are just but good trash, fun trash. Um, but yeah, but yeah. Now, my next pick in the 30 the section 3 is Nightmare City. It was directed by Umberto Lenzi. Huge Umberto Lenzi fan, and if you're an Italian fan, he covers like he did the like this is his like zombie-ish movie. He's done so much horror. He's amazing at giallo movies. He did a lot of like the 70s like crime movies in Italy. But anyway, Nightmare City. The best one that I've come across is the Arrow version that came out in 2015. But long before zombies took up jogging in it's true, jogging in 28 Days Later in Zack Snyder's Dawn of the Dead remake, they were brandishing axes and other sharp implements in Umberto Lenzi's utterly insane radiation sickness opus Nightmare City. In true zombie flesh eater's form, our story begins with an arrival of an ominous, seemingly unnamed craft. In this instance, a military plane making an unscheduled landing at a European airport. Upon forcing the aircraft's doors open, the waiting soldiers get nasty shock when out burst a horde of flesh-hungry, pizza-faced radioactive ghouls. The Walking Dead are here, and they're hungry. Counting among its fans like Quentin Tarantino and Eli Roth. I know, two that was with some movie fans, bitch. But you know what? I think I like both. I love both of them. Quentin Tarantino is one of my favorite fucking directors in the world, and Eli Roth, I think he's great at what he does. I really do. I just do, and he's such a fan, and I can just feel that passion. I just love watching interviews with him, or when he's included on a special feature, just talking about a movie that he loves. And yeah. But anyway, Nightmare City, or City of the Walking Dead, is a bonkers slice of Italian zombie carnage from the man who shocked the world with the notorious Cannibal Ferox. Forgot to mention that. He even touched in the Cannibal World. He's done... Umberto Lenzi has touched every... I think he's touched every Italian type of movie, really. I mean, yeah. So, from here, I only have a couple left, but... No, I got a few. Okay. Where am I? Okay. My next choice is The Prowler. Slasher fans probably know about The Prowler, I would think. Especially if you know The Burning, you would think you know The Prowler, but anything's possible. I mean, I always forget how many movies I've seen and how many movies most people have seen. So, it kind of happens, you know? But yeah, The Prowler is definitely really good, also known as Rosemary's Killer. If you haven't seen it, it's kind of be surprising, but anything's possible. I'm not that guy. I'm not like, really? I haven't seen that? Why have you seen that? Look, I'll be honest about everything. I'm a huge 80s guy, okay? And I watch regular movies, tons of regular movies, as well as horror movies and exploitation movies and Italian movies and slasher movies and blah, blah, blah. The first time I saw The Goonies was in the past decade. So, yeah. Everybody can't see everything, you know? I don't know how that happened, but anyway. The Prowler. I had not too... It was fun. It was fun. Watching it because Joe Bob did it on his show, and it was one of those few movies that, and to each their own, man, he felt that he liked it, but he definitely seemed like there were things that he wasn't too big on, you know. And that's cool. I was surprised, but it's fine. But yeah, Joseph Zito directed Rosemary's Killer, as known on the Section 3 list. But it's got a cool backstory. June 28th, 1945, night of a graduation dance. One of those classic 80s slasher like backstories and stuff. But the effects are amazing. Of course they are. It's Tom Savini. It's some of his favorite effects in it. There's a lot of implements what's the pitchfork that goes all the way through the woman, and you totally see it. Like, you can't see the effect. You can't see the effect like you do in a lot of Italian movies. I can't see the effect. Maybe I'm missing something, and I'm glad that I am, okay? But yeah, I highly recommend The Prowler. If you're a slasher fan, if you're a horror fan, if you love the 80s and you love really good effects, it's super violent, and it does have like I said, it does have a cool backstory. But The Prowler, definitely recommend The Prowler. I don't have it. I don't have it on Blu-ray. I have it on DVD. I didn't grab that one. The few that I didn't, I gotta get it on Blu-ray. Blue Underground does have it on Blu-ray, but I'm kind of holding out because there's a chance it might be a better release. I'm hoping from somebody, but because the Blu-ray is basically just like the DVD, other than it being in HD, of course. But I might just say fuck it, and get that one. Okay, two left. I think I did it correctly. Let's see. One, two. Yep. Um, I don't even know if this next movie has been released in America. I know it has. I mean, like a really good Blu-ray. Um, but my next choice is Extra. Extra. Um, this movie's definitely something else. It's a sci-fi horror movie. Um, I can't read the description on this one because I have a German Blu-ray. Great fucking set, but everything on it is in German, and I don't speak German. So, um, but uh, Vinegar Syndrome released Extra 3, which I did buy, but I have not watched yet. I'm waiting for somebody to release Extra 2 because I only have it on VHS. But I've honestly, I've loved the first one for a very long time, and it'd be cool if it really should get a release in America. Unless it has, and it's kind of got past me because like I said, certain movies I don't always rebuy just cause like there has to be a really good reason or I have to come across it. Um, but yeah, Extra is definitely interesting. I'm trying to describe it, but it's just so hard to describe. Um, but it's definitely a good one, and I definitely recommend it. Um, it's got sci-fi in there. It's got horror in there. It's got some weird fucked up shit. Um, I'm not really doing it justice because I'm trying to rack my brain of what to say about it. But but yeah, hopefully before I'm done with this podcast, I will come back to it if I think of anything else that I wanted to mention. Uh, but yeah, um, let's see. I got something. I got something. There's a lot of lulls in this. I apologize, but um, Sam and his son Tony are playing outside of their farm. Suddenly, the father is abducted by a strong light. 3 years later, the light returns and plants a seed. A half-human, half-alien creature grows up, and when it moves, it's hit by a car. Um, then is attacked and killed when he looks for the creature. Okay, this is just like yeah. I found it on Wikipedia. I was trying to find something, but it's not really working. So I apologize for the lull, or the whatever people like to call it. But a man who was abducted by aliens returns to his family 3 years later, but his presence affects them negatively. Yeah, basically. Anyway, I've rambled on about this enough. I recommend Extra. I really do. I really like it. My last one in the 10 is a movie in the UK known as Zombie Holocaust, also known as Dr. Butcher, MD. I love these titles. But yeah, I like it. It's definitely good. The Italians tried to really combine the tropes, I guess, of a zombie movie and a cannibal movie and kind of put it together. Um, it's also Ian McAuliffe is in it, as I said. There are two different good versions of this for sure. I really like the 88 Films version because it has a documentary on it called Eaten Alive, a brand new feature-length documentary about Italian cannibal film phenomenon. Um, and there's an absolutely amazing. The best one, honestly, to get is the one from Severin, but if you want to check out that documentary, it's on 88 Films. Um, but yeah, the MD stands for what is it? Medical deviate or something like that. What is it? Yeah, medical deviate. I'm not sure which one I want to read, but I might go with 88 Films. I'll read both of them. Fuck it, it's the last movie. Let's have fun with this. But yeah, if you like Italian movies, if you like Ian McCullough, um, if you like Italian zombie movies, if you like Italian, it's not huge on the cannibal part of it, but it's got tropes anyway. Zombie Holocaust returns the great Ian McCullough to the screen as one of Italian horror cinema's most likable heroes. Unfortunately, though, McCullough is once again placed in a luckless situation, arriving on Caribbean island full of a raisin innard hungry undead denizens. Okay, zombies basically, adding to, or not zombies, but cannibals. Yeah. Adding to his anguish is a tribe of peckish cannibals, and rest assured they have still not learned how to cook their dinner properly or pick up any table manners. Also known as Dr. Butcher MD, extremely expertly directed by the late Martino Guglielmi. Zombie Holocaust transplants two of Rome's finest fright templates in one entrail-landed entries, indeed, as the title suggests. Mix of cannibal holocaust and zombie flesh eaters, offering primitive barbecues of the former barbecues, yeah, boutiques of the former flick with more supernatural suspense of the later frightener. Can you stomach hold up? Be warned, the gore is more gruesome than ever before in HD. Anyway, that wasn't the greatest description, but or was it? Like, this is the one from Severin. It sparked riots on 42nd Street, spawned a generation of gorehounds on VHS, and forever set an insane standard for Italian mad doctor slash zombie slash cannibal carnage worldwide. Let's see. Ian McCullough, Alexandra Delicoli, who was also in New York Ripper, Sherry Bakanin, who was in Tentacles, and Donald O'Brien was in Emmanuel and the Last Cannibals, star in this blood orgy of gut-munching, eye-gouging, and face-chomping originality known as Zombie Holocaust, which a notorious American distributor would then re-edit, retitle, and re-release as a certified grindhouse masterpiece. Severin now presents both films fully restored for their first time ever with original vault materials, and discovered in Manhattan and Rome, and loaded with all new bonus features that finally reveal the unbelievable truth behind the bizarre history and infamous marketing and still deviant legacy. Yeah, that's pretty good. There's tons of special features on the Severin one for sure. But yeah, out of the Classic 39, those are my 10 favorites. I know this one was a bit more long-winded, or not really, but they're about the same. I get long-winded. I love my movies. What can I say? The last thing I will say, I'm going to quickly mention 5 honorable mentions from the 39. The first one is The Child. You can get this one on Arrow. They released it recently in a box set, as well as I think you can get it singly now. I only have the DVD. I do not have that Blu-ray, but I will check it out. The Child. A movie called Superstition, which Scream Factory put out on Blu-ray. That's never heard of that movie, never seen that movie. Very, very good. That almost made it into my 10 favorites. Prey, which was also known as Alien Prey. I didn't see it as a kid, but it was definitely an infamous box that I kept picking up because there is a gruesome picture on it of a guy that I'm not even going to say it because it gives away the ending. which I thought was funny after seeing the movie. Like, wow, that's a really way for somebody like me to pick up a movie and want to watch it, and then you watch it and you're like, oh, well, you just gave away the ending because it's on the case. But yeah, Prey. Vinegar Syndrome put it out on Blu-ray. Pretty nice release. It's also directed by the Inseminoid director Norman J. Warren. The last two is Midnight. This has John Amplis is in it. There's very good. I hope it gets like a better release. I have a old Arrow DVD of it, but it's called Midnight. It's pretty good. And lastly, a movie called The Nesting. It's I think it's like if I remember right, it's like a supernatural like slasher, but it'd be cool if it got released again. I think Blue Underground has it, so they might release it again, or I could see it being released by Vinegar Syndrome or Scream Factory, but I think Blue Underground has it. So anyway, yeah, this was fun. I'm glad I finally did it. So hopefully Adam will be back soon. I will probably do more of these in between time. Adam's been super busy. So this has been the Horror of It All Movie Podcast. I'm Eric. Until next time.